John Beaudin, Rock History Book. How is everyone the day before New Year's Eve? Hope everyone's doing okay. It's Today in History, where we look at important things that happened on this day. And it's the day that a second Beatle was almost murdered. It was very disturbing. It happened on December 30th, 1999 at 3:30 in the morning at Friars Park. That was a Victorian neo-Gothic mansion in Henley-on-Thames in England. Beautiful structure, huh? Look at it. Built in 1889, has 30 rooms, though it's rumored to have over 100 rooms. Olivia Harrison once said that is just one of those things that people say. The property is on 62 acres. It even has an underground passage, or passages, I heard. It was bought in 1970 by Beatle George Harrison. 2 years later, he built a 16-track studio in a guest room where at one point people were saying it was better sound-wise than Abbey Road Studios, where the Beatles, of course, recorded and hundreds of artists. By 74, George was recording all his Dark Horse recording label stuff in that very place. The supergroup, which George was in, the Travelin' Wilburys, also recorded all their material there, as well as a lot of the Beatles anthology stuff. And George's longtime friend, Ravi Shankar, recorded a few albums there, as well as Shakespeare's sister. The lights just dimmed in the studio. I don't know if you saw that. The first and only time this ever happened, of course, murdering a Beatle, was John Lennon, December 8th, 1980. We all remember that date. Mark David Chapman, who's standing beside him there, getting it autographed earlier on December 8th, shot him in front of John Lennon's apartment, Dakota, where both John and Yoko lived. It was a terrible day. Now, interestingly, Showbiz Cheat Sheet wrote a great article. It's a great website, by the way, on George and the whole incident. In a 1987 interview, George says he wasn't too concerned about his safety, saying, "I don't think anybody would be bothered killing me. What's the point of killing me? There's nothing, I don't feel that important," he had said. But interestingly, Michael Palin, his friend from Monty Python, said that he was really concerned about his safety, that he had put razor wires around the perimeter, had spent $2 million on extra security, so he wasn't showing it. But, and I can understand this, but he was disturbed. Now, 3:30 in the morning, December 30th, a disturbed Beatles fan, his name was Michael Abrams, that's him right there, threw a statue through a window to the mansion and called out for George, to which George responded, "What do you want?" Then Abrams said, "You know what I want." Yikes. George's wife, Olivia, said it was like just a voice from the bowels of hell. Then he just tore up the stairs. He was in a florid psychotic state, and he was tall and young, and this man was on top of George trying to kill him. Now, Abrams stabbed George Harrison multiple times. He had a collapsed lung from it. He would have died if Olivia wouldn't have been there. She hit him with a poker. But he would have died. The police all said that he wouldn't have been able to survive this probably with a much younger man like this. Especially, as you know, when people are a little crazy, they seem to be a little stronger. So she basically hit him over the head with a poker. She saw the blood, she said, on his blonde hair. And then he started chasing her. George, who was hurt at the time, turned around, jumped on Abrams' back, and held him down until the police got there. Insane, huh? I remember hearing about this and thinking, my God, we almost lost George Harrison. Of course, George Harrison did die November 29th, 2001. He'd been diagnosed with throat cancer. He was only 58 years old. And if you have Spotify, you'll go in Spotify and you'll see the numbers for the Beatles. And it's really interesting how George gets his at the end. The biggest Spotify song right now in the world is "Here Comes the Sun." Thank you, George. 928 million listens. Come Together is number 2 at 566, and then Let It Be with 506, I think, or something like that. He was the first one to release a solo album, Wonderwall music from soundtrack to Wonderwall. But when you look at almost losing George, there was always a part of me that went, when I heard the headline and I saw I think I have it. Where do I have it? It might be here. That's him. But this is it. Seeing headlines like that, where I'm going, oh my God, could this have happened again? But there you go. It happened at 3:30 in the morning. And when you're woken up, and I doubt if he was awake, I don't know the headline. I didn't see anything that he was necessarily awake. George was. That you come down, someone's in your house, there's a part of you just come down. Someone's there calling my name. I'm going to come down. What is it? And Olivia just said he shouldn't have done that. They should have barricaded themselves. And look at the size of this place. This is insane. Olivia, in an interview, had said that there were 30 rooms, but I don't know about you, but it looks like there's more than 30 rooms in there. And then you look at this picture of the expanse of the property. It seemed like the coolest thing in the world. Well, he's a Beatle. I think he deserves that. We've got a few more today in history coming up a little later on tonight. It's the holidays. I know a lot of people aren't on, but I want to thank for the folks who are watching. Appreciate you an awful lot. And hey, have fun tomorrow night, New Year's Eve. Take care. John Beaudin, Rock History Book.